Hi everybody, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and today I am coming to you finally with my book review for The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I have been saying ever since my February wrap-up that I would do a review for this, and things have just been crazy, and this is the first chance I've had to get to it, so I'm very, very sorry about that. But this was my favorite book of February, and I actually bought this because I saw Watching You, which is also by Lisa Jewell, highly recommended on BookTube. A lot of people were raving about it, and I went to the bookstore, and there was a deal if you bought the two together. So I went ahead and bought that and this one, and the cashier was so heavily raving about this book that I actually decided to read it first, even though the other one was the one that I had heard everything about. And I could not put this down. This story is told from a few different point of views and in two separate timelines. But it's not that hard to figure out where you are in the story. It's not confusing the way that it's written. But our main overall goal is we are following a character named Libby, who on her 25th birthday is notified that she has inherited this extremely extravagant manor house. And she was adopted as an infant. She knows that she was adopted, but this property is the property of her birth family. And beyond them dying when she was an infant, she does not know anything about them. So she goes to claim her inheritance and finds out there's actually a mystery behind this whole thing, that when her parents died, it was a triple suicide in the house. Her parents and this one other person that nobody knows who it was. And she was found in her crib, freshly changed, fed, as though she had been taken care of. And there was a note left, saying her name and how old she was and all of that. And she had never been told this before. So she wants to find out what's happened. She was initially going to sell the house for profit, but when she finds out about this, she wants to figure out what happened, especially considering that there were neighbor reports of a lot of people living in the house, reports of it being a commune, of them being a cult, and that there were several children that came and went. But when the police went into the home, the baby was the only child that they found, the only child that there was even evidence of. So she wants to know what happened. She knows for a fact that she has an older brother and sister that disappeared without a trace. And she wants to find out about these mystery children that are in the police reports. So rather than sell the house like she planned, she starts trying to uncover what actually happened. So we get intermittent flashbacks into, the original storyline, but it's from a different character's point of view. And it's the point of view of one of the children. And we're seeing that the family initially took in a couple and then another couple being generous. And these people kind of took over the home. They were very demanding, and they were kind of like cult leaders. They made them wear rags for clothes and no shoes and wouldn't allow haircuts, and were abusive towards the children, locked them up in the attic with only a mattress on the floor. And there was a lot more crazy abuse and things like that going on. And the actual owners of the home were pretty much prisoners in their own house, as well as these children. And the level of brainwashing that was going on, the mother in particular was extremely brainwashed. The father was disabled, so there wasn't that much that he could do about it. So these children pretty much had to band together to survive the hell that was this house. So throughout the story and going back and forth between the two timelines, we kind of pieced together what actually went on in this house, and I thought that it was so brilliantly done. We learned what happened in the house. We learned what happened to the children, why they were not found, and it's one of the better thriller endings that I have ever read in my entire life. I can't even emphasize that enough. I was shocked how crazy this ending was and what had actually happened in this home. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a spoiler alert here in case you have not read this yet, or in case you get triggered by spoilers, because I'm going to let a couple out here. I'm going to try to not do anything too major, but there are a few things that I do have to talk about in greater detail. So we learn in the flashback sequences that these children were abused horribly, particularly one of the boys who was gay, and one of the girls who is actually the sister of Libby. These children are all older than this infant. They're teens and preteens throughout the course of this book, so she's easily the youngest one. But these kids had to band together to survive the abuse and the hell that was going on in this house. And the turning point for them deciding that they had to do something was the baby, Libby. I'm trying to decide how to describe this without going too heavily into spoilers. The reason that I found it so engaging was they put up with it for years, but when it came to this baby, they did not want her life to go downhill the way that theirs did. And they wanted her to have a full life. They wanted her to not have to suffer that abuse. They wanted her to stay pure. So one of the kids was allowed to work in the garden, and he learned a lot about different plants and things, and he would make tonics and stuff for everybody that lived in the home because they weren't allowed to go to the doctor. So if somebody was sick, they actually trusted him to make a tonic or something to make them better. So he knew enough to make people sick if he needed to, and the kids had all decided that it was time to try to escape to get the baby out of there, and he had slipped what he thought was a sleeping tonic into the nightly juice or whatever it was that they were drinking, and he accidentally misjudged it in his excitement and killed them. So when they discovered what happened, they panicked, being the children that they were. They didn't think that the authorities would understand, and they decided that they needed to run, basically. And we do see how their lives are affected in the present day, because we do see those characters. Most of them leave the country, change their identities, anything to try to be separated from that. But they had made a deal to come back when the baby turned 25, because they knew that there was a clause in the will stating that she got everything. So as Libby is trying to piece together this mystery of her family, they are on their way back to her, and she is unaware of that. It's very, very brilliantly written. There are more spoilers that I did not go into in this. even in the spoiler section, because I don't want to ruin it for you guys. It is so, so sad, but it is beautifully written. It's gripping. The plot twists will have you guessing every step of the way. It's such an amazing story. I do see very strong parallels between this and Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews, but it is its own story. I kind of got some of the similar vibes from it. Like she may have been inspired by that. I don't know for sure, so I don't want to say that officially on record. That's just kind of how it felt. But this is definitely its own story. It is in no way a copy or even a retelling, I wouldn't say. It's just a different spin on a family being locked in an attic. So that is all that I have for you guys today. If you liked this video, please make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.